Okay, so this is a video for how to do worksheet 13C for quadratics. To be able to do 13C, you must have a complete and correct set of answers to 13B. Okay, and you can see most of 13B there. To do 13C and to do a sketch at any point, I always recommend using a pencil because otherwise it can get a little bit messy. So what you're looking to do here is you're looking to actually sketch the graph, and here you have all the details. So let's put a light axis in the middle. Now your turning point is back 3 and down 1. So let's put that there at -3, -1. It's a minimum turning point, so I always kind of sketch it a wee bit like that. Don't go too far. Now, I actually, from there, I then go to the roots. So the roots are at -4, which could be about there, and -2, which could be about there. It's a sketch, so you do not have to be accurate, okay? Please don't get too stressed about that. So you can now kind of see the shape of your graph. So from there, I start to draw in my quadratic lightly and take it up. Don't forget to label your axes as Y and X. And then from there, I have a look and then start to fill in the others. So I've done that one, I've got the nature, the turning point, I've done the roots, I've got two real and distinct roots, you can see them different. My y-intercept is up at 8, so I can put that in there and say that that's 8. And the last thing that I can put in, which isn't really part of the sketch of the graph, but it's important information, is the equation of this line is x is -3. Okay, once you've done that, then you can take your pen and go over your quadratic a little bit clearer, over your parabola a little bit clearer, and you can make your coordinates nice and clear. They always must be labelled on the graph. Okay, so there's your first sketch. Equation 2, you're looking for all the details here. So again, set out my axes. Never quite know how much you can ever use of either. Make sure they're always labelled x and y. So 2 along -9. So 2, -9, let's just say that's about there. Always label it. So I'll do that one. It's minimum, which means it's happy shaped through that point. So I've done that. Now I jump to the roots, which is going to be 5 along, 5, 0, and -1, 0. So label them as 5 and -1. And then from there, I can get a bit of a rough idea of how my parabola is going to look. And there we go. Quite happy with that. So I've done those. I've clearly got two real and distinct roots. You can see two different roots. Y-intercept 0, -5. That looks about right on there. It's certainly negative. And the last thing that I would put in is the axis of symmetry. It's a vertical line going through 2, so it has the equation x equals 2. Once you're happy, you can take your pen and go through. Now the reason I do that is when you do an exam, they actually get scanned in, and quite often pencil doesn't get picked up. So anything you want picked up, you go over in pen. I'm not going over the writing in pen just for time, but I would suggest that you do. Okay, I would suggest you go over all of it, but always start in pencil. So that's equation 2. Equation 3. Okay, so let's look at the details there. Again, start with an x and y axis. This is a sketch, you don't need to be fussy. X and y. Coordinates, turning point 4 along and 1 down. 4 along and 1 down, let's just say that's about there. 4 along and 1 down. You must always label the coordinates on the sketch. It's minimum, so it's going to be happy shaped. Again, just do that roughly. Turning point, roots, 3 and 5. And again, I'm just kind of estimating where they are, but it looks quite okay. I'm quite happy with that. Maybe I've made it a little bit funny, but there we go. So they go up. Now, I should make sure, the problem I'm going to have there is I haven't taken this out to pass the y-axis. So just sometimes you maybe just need to play around with your sketch a wee bit to make sure that you can fit the information in. Well, we need the y-intercept, so I need to show that. So I've done that. My roots were 3 and 5, so I've done those. It's clearly got two distinct roots. Y-intercept is 0, 15, so I've managed to just alter my graph to make sure I get it in. And then axis of symmetry. It's a vertical line, which always has the equation x equals. What must x equal at all points on there? X must equal 4. Again, once you're happy, so I've covered all these details, then you take your pen and you go over your lovely parabola very carefully and make sure your coordinate points that you want stand out nice and clearly, and make sure that you've labelled numbers for all of them in X and Y. And you just continue like that with the next 3 equations, the next 3 sets of information, and that's how you complete 13C, and that's the end of the worksheet 13 sets.